Dan Walrack and I are about to talk through the mindset of a $18 million sales rep. This is a really exciting interview that we get to have because we're here at RuPaul. Someone might know this guy. If you don't, what's up, John?
What's up?
No, you can just talk right into this.
Close to you.
Yeah,
I'm fine getting close.
Yeah, we're here, man.
We can handle that.
He probably smells a little bit better than me.
Yeah, this is a video I've never done before. We're sitting at IRE, which I was not actually planning on going to. Thank you. We have bogarted the Master Your Craft booth, which I'm grateful for. We've also been gifted from Chris Zimmerman this beautiful picture of his, well, if you know, you know. But anyway, Chris Zimmerman and John Cenac let us bogart the booth. And John's just here to say, hey, and kick off life with shingles. Have you got shingles before?
No.
Terrible. Terrible. You can skip that.
Not old enough yet.
Brother's already gotten it, so I'm a little nervous about that because
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to hit at some point. Mid-40s now, I'm like, it's got
I know. It's not a fun thing. Thanks for staying here. So drop some word of wisdom before we jump into our interview on what your key insider takeaway was from 2026 IRE.
2026 IRE.
That's where we're sitting right now, isn't it? Okay.
That's
cool.
where we're at.
I'm like, you got the year right?
I'm just going to quote something right out of a book I was handed here from one of the vendors. There's a really good quote. And they said if 2025 was the year to catch our breath for the roofing industry, and 2026 is the year to get rhythm. And when you look at the last 5 years and you look at COVID, shortage of materials, storms were still up, we were still busy. We finally are at a point where materials are in stock. The industry faced a little bit of a downturn. And you could look at that in a very negative light. But when you look at that and you said, look, we finally caught our breath as an industry. It slowed down enough that some of the crazy stuff that was going on finally slowed down. Okay, now it's time. On IRE, you're running out of time. You only have a couple months if you're building things, changing things, revising your internal systems. But then they got to be in place come March. It's time to really get that rhythm down because we're reset, we're refreshed, we're revived. That down year isn't a negative thing to look at. It happens in every year. Look at that positively that we had a chance to catch our breath and let's get in an awesome rhythm going on 26. So when I look at this whole event, that stuck in my mind. I was like, everybody in this room needs to be thinking, I don't get my rhythm down.
Nice. Thank you, man. It was good seeing you here.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see you
responding
guys.
to my text, by the way. When I said I'll see you at IRE tomorrow.
I don't have it.
He didn't even respond.
Didn't come
at all. So
I'm going to respond to every text
Yeah,
message.
it's true.
Look, I'll show you. See,
you only have 3,939 to sort through. So
I'll get to them.
all right.
You guys enjoy yourself.
Amazing.
You guys
So
have
thanks,
fun.
man. Go blast some
I'm gonna
shingles.
go mingle.
And while we get reset here, and Dan, this is perfect for you and me to start talking
Heck
through
yeah.
2026. A lot of people are worried that we're coming to pre-COVID levels. And I want to get into mindset for folks to help survive that. But I do want to give a quick shout out. They don't know I'm making this shout out. I showed up to IRE completely last minute, and Mike Goldenstein at the RuFull team totally hooked me up. So Mike and RuFull team, thank you. They also had a really fun go-kart I was cruising around in earlier.
I saw you in that.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
yesterday. That was a blast. So, dude, you've been in this for 27 years. Is that right?
That's right.
What I'd love to hear from you. You've been through ups and downs,
Oh, yeah.
booms and busts.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about the last boom and bust cycle you have been through personally, and how you prepare yourself mentally to go through that so you could still stay in the game.
Well, I think a lot of this industry, a lot of my past has been a boom or bust. I mean, when I first started out, it took me, my story was, I first started off and I was going to be a physical education, health and fitness teacher. And a lot of people don't know where my past started. And I was 100% against doing this industry myself because I consider myself not a door knocker. I didn't want to go sell vacuums. I didn't want to do that stuff. My mentor, a good friend of mine, Jim Johnson, I'm sure you know him.
Yeah.
He's the one that started me out.
Yeah.
He's
Jim
like,
was one
"Man,"
of my mentors too, by
right,
the way.
he's like,
Yeah.
you need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm like, Jim, I said, I'm not going to, I played basketball. I said, I'm not going to sit there and sell vacuums at a door. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
He goes, but Dan, he goes, I see you have the personality. You have the will to do it. He goes, this is different. You're selling. This is what I tell people all the time. You're selling a need. You're not selling a want. And it took me a while to understand what that meant. And then in this industry, I finally understood what that meant, because back 25, 26, 27 years ago, nobody understood the insurance industry. They didn't know what it meant, right? And with him telling me that, and then it just stuck. And my passion that I love doing is I love coaching, right? So I love helping others get to a point where they're at that 1%, right? And so on the tributes and struggles, I mean, so I did that 3 years with Jim Johnson at that. And then, you know, I started my own company, which was a struggle to start off because I didn't know what I was doing. Started my own company, but I knew that I was good at sales. So that's why we started the company. And in 11 years, 12 years ago, my wife and I, we got it going and we did great, right?
Yeah.
This was prior to all the PE and all that other things that happened. Well, I promised my wife and I promised us that once my kids got to the age, I wanted to be there as they're growing up. I wanted to be coaching their baseball team, things like that. So we just shut down our other company. Well, now, obviously, you could have sold that to a PE and probably made a lot of money, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And that was a true. And so I had to basically start from scratch again and go into a company and say, hey, I just need some t-shirts and contracts. I'm going to sell you $1 million. They both looked at me across the table, laughed at me like, yeah, whatever. Right. But I knew what I could do. And like you said, there's been so many ups and downs in this business that even every year, a September burnout happens every year with people. And how do you shift your mind and how do you shift your mindset to, you have to fight through it, get the tunnel vision and get to that November, December mindset to refresh for the spring. And that's what our last class at Go Beyond the Hustle was about, is refreshing and renewing for another season. And there's so many different people. And I was just talking to Chris about this. There's so many different people out there that have that job mentality in this industry that they last a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, and then they're out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the mindset that they treat this as their job instead of treating this as their career. And if you have that mindset and that mind shift that, hey, this is my career, not my job, I think you're willing to play the long game. You're willing to play, hey, I need to plant my seed now for 2 years from now, that seed's going to grow, as opposed to, I need to sign that person up right now. Instead of pursuing the homeowner's best interest, they're pursuing their own interest.
Yeah.
And in that mind shift right there, if you can take that sales rep that's been doing this, 6 months, a year, and train him and teach him, and that's kind of what we do at Go Beyond the Hustle, to teach him to have that mind shift that, hey, this is your career path. This isn't your job path. You can make lawyer, doctor, shoot, even more than that money in this industry, as long as your mind's in the right place.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for, let's say, a rookie salesperson? So I know we've got folks that might be just coming into roofing right now and they haven't experienced the boom or the bust. They might be coming in and, hearing the chatter from their peers that have been around a little longer that are like, hey man, things were good. Things were easy. Now it's getting harder. Homeowners aren't spending money as much and whatever. By the way, this is the narrative that they're sharing. What advice would you have for the new rep to get their head in the game, to get moving right now in this industry?
I think one of the things I would tell them that's most important, we do the 5 C's. It's under the 5 C's, is they need to stay consistent. All right. And I know it's a broad term and I was like, everybody says stay consistent. But what I mean, if you want to shorten that down a little bit, what I mean is every single day since 27 years, every single day of this industry, I do a 3-goal checklist every morning. So one of the first things I do every morning is I got my black book. I open it up. I write 3 goals that I have to do that day. They might not all be work related. There's some personal related, some other things, but I write those down because that gives me that mind shift that every single day, if I can accomplish those 3 goals, 5, 6 days a week, because Sundays, I'll be honest with you, I don't really do. I sleep in, whatever. But if I can do that if I can do that 5 or 6 days a week, if I can handle those 3 goals 5 or 6 days a week, and it could be trivial goals. It could be little things like, hey, I want to spend an extra hour with my kids today, or da-da-da. If I can handle those 5 or 6 goals every single day, that's 15 to 18 goals a week. My monthly, weekly, and yearly goals have no choice but to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And these new sales reps, they need to understand that don't set your goal for a year to 5 years from now. Because if you set a yearly goal, like, hey, I'm a new sales rep and I want to sell $3.5 million this year, and we have a slow year and it's a rough year, and they get to September, October, and they're sitting at $400,000 or $600,000 in sales, to reach that goal of $3 million is very unattainable at that point. What are they going to do? They're just going to quit on themselves, or they're going to stop. Yeah. But if they can set their 3 daily goals, like I still to this day, that's where the dinosaur theme came in, is I'm a dinosaur in this industry. I still to this day in the console of my F-150 truck is 100 job checklists. No matter what, retail, insurance sales, if there's a storm, if not a storm, I have to do 100 jobs a year. I have to do that. That's my goal. That's what I have to do. And I have that job like, so it stares at me every single day that I have to do this. And I've got it broken down where that means I need to get 3 green A jobs approved a week. Once I hit that 100, anything above and beyond that, and I haven't been under 125 years, but after I hit that 100, anything above and beyond that for me is gravy.
Yeah.
But I have to hit that, right? And we're so focused on what are you going to do next year? What are you going to do? It's focus on what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
or
how are
now.
you, or now, how
Yeah.
are you going to be, are you going to be a good person? How are you going to be a good human, right? What are you going to do today that's going to affect your next week? What are you going to do today that's going to affect next month?
Yeah.
And we have such a mind shift with owners in this industry that they're all carried about, yep, bring them in. If they don't do well, kick them out. Bring them in. It's just a constant influx of reps. And 20 plus years ago, when you were a sales rep and you'd come into a company, you would stay there for years. And why? Because you felt like you were part of something. Now you're just brought in, you're a number. If you don't do well, you're out.
Yeah.
And that's what this company or this industry is changing on. And it's not just the owners. Now we go back to the sales reps. They all have that instant gratification. They want everything handed to them now. I mean, I can't tell you how many booths you walk around and all they talk about is leads handed to them, leads handed to them, leads handed to them. I haven't taken a damn lead in years. And they're why? Because I built that network. I built that relationship on how to get to there. And that's where we as trainers struggle at teaching the new sales rep is how do you get to that point? How do you go beyond the hustle, right? We all have to knock doors when we first started off. You've done it. I've done it. We all done it. We've knocked doors. We've gone through the blood, sweat, and tears. But how do you go past that?
Well, the whole goal is to get so good you don't have to knock doors. I think
100%.
that's a big shift for so many people is like the greatest salespeople knock doors the least amount, but not to be confused with the thought that you shouldn't need to go knock doors.
Right, right.
Like it is the way that I teach it, it's like a weight loss plan.
Okay.
You need to follow the plan till you get the result. You don't need to follow the plan anymore. You need to sustain.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like you follow it till you don't need to follow it anymore. People struggle with following it.
It's just like a sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main I get that question every time I do a panel, every time I speak. That's the question I get asked all the time. Dan, man, you sell over $3 million for 25 years straight. What is your sales pitch? What do you do? And I try to explain it to you. I'm a firm believer your best salespeople out there don't have an exact pitch. They're psychologists. They know how to read people. They know where to take that information and where to take that conversation and where to take it to where it's going to get to that point. Now, on the other end of that, did I start off with a pitch? Of course. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just how I'm saying it differently.
How would you speak to that? Because I agree fundamentally, and I want to have a conversation about this because we bogarted your booth, Paul.
Yeah, we stole you, Paul.
We bogarted your booth. You gotta love friends that let you hijack your booth. A lot of people that get into roofing sales think I'm good with people or I can talk to anyone, therefore I'll make sales. But they end up talking their way out of more sales than
100%.
they win. And I agree with you. Like the greatest salespeople are psychologists. They understand what to say and why. Actually, just this morning at 6:30 here in Vegas, I was running a training for RSRA, which, by the way, the training you ran for us on mindset and getting your whole family rallied behind it with your wife there was amazing.
Thank you.
We ran a session on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, for those who are unfamiliar, in keywords and phrases, but it wasn't like, it's not like, this is the trick, say this, and then that happens. It's understanding the fundamentals of why these words and phrases work, and then learning to stitch them together. So it was
100%.
it was really magic. But how would you share to a leader of an organization where and how they can train their team to get to the level of proficiency that they can abandon a script, because you can't teach that to start?
So I think the biggest thing that we need to train, newer sales reps is, I think the biggest issue we have is they're trying to force too much information in a conversation where somebody doesn't trust you yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What a lot of people fail to realize is when I go around and do these trainings and I go door to door with these sales reps and they're wondering, how the hell do you sign 50% of the people you knock on the doors? I said, because you got to be willing to listen, because those homeowners are going to tell you what their main concern is.
Yeah.
And if you sit there and you force feed them what your agenda is or what you want, you're putting a wall up. But if you listen to what they want, and this all goes back to pursuing their best interest, if you listen to what they want and you feed off what they want, you'll eventually get to what you want. but you're doing it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what new sales reps don't understand. And that's what new owners of companies and owners don't realize is they're not training that aspect. They're training, here's a pitch. Here's, you got to do this. You got to do this. You make sure you tell them about this. Make sure you tell them about this. Where all these new sales reps are just trying to regurgitate exactly what they learned in their boot camp.
Yeah.
And by all means, I want to be honest. I think boot camps are great. I think training is phenomenal, but I think it's how you train it
Yes.
is the difference between a sales rep that's been doing this, still boots on the ground, and a sales rep that hasn't sold a thing in 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? Because selling now and selling 20 years ago is 100% different. Homeowners are 100% different. People are different.
Go into that. I'd love to get into that.
Well, 20 years ago, my biggest objection in selling a roof was to try to explain to a homeowner, this isn't a scam, right? Yes, I can get you a new roof and siding on your house for $100. It does happen,
yeah.
right? Nowadays, your biggest objection you get from people is, either you're screwing over my insurance company or, objection to, I've looked at my roof, everything's great, there's no problem. I've had 15 people knock my door. I mean, you can go a gamut of objections, right?
Cheaper, why?
Exactly. And I think what a lot of sales reps don't understand and what owners need to bring in is guys like yourself, myself, Chris, people like that are trainers is teach them how to handle those objections before they become objections.
Correct. Proactive objection.
And that's what we don't teach at a lot of these places. We teach, okay, if they give you this objection, here's what you say.
Oh my gosh.
Let's teach how do you stop that objection from coming out before it becomes an objection. And that's what I try to teach when I go do my classes. We do our first full day is on A to Z on how to be a dino in this industry and how to do $3 million a year. Then I go out and sell with the sales reps. I go door to door with them and I help all. We sold $250,000 in 6 hours in New England with two of the sales reps. And they're like, holy shit. And then the next day we come back in the morning and that's what we train on. We train on how to handle those objections before they become objections. Yeah. And then we do that. And then I go back out with the sales reps, run a couple leads with them. And I listen to them handle those objections before they become objections. Yeah. And how it makes it so much easier at the door with that homeowner, because that homeowner is not going to give you, my husband's not home. They're not going to give you, I can't afford it. They're not going to give you those objections because you've handled those in your presentation before it even become an objection.
Yeah.
So
I think the art that salespeople need to work on is getting out of their own head and thinking, how are my words being heard and understood on the other side?
Yes.
Because then it's very easy to predict if I make this claim, how are they going to respond? Then my next statement should be addressing that objection.
Right.
It's a game of chess that at least the way I think of it. And I like to use if I had, I like to get out of the roofing space just because it's easy for people to see this in a more day-to-day experience. But if you saw an ad for weight loss and it was like lose 30 pounds in 30 days without taking pills, dieting, or exercise. Right. The first thought is that's too good to be true. Yeah. How does it work? Exactly. So then my very next line would be like, you might be wondering, is that too good to be true or is it a scam? Now hang with me, give me 5 minutes and I'll explain why it's not and how these 15 people have done it and you 100%. Can too, right? 15, 100, whatever. So by the way, I just pulled this out of a hat. So I love that. What do you see are the most common mistakes? Because you're out training door to door. And I know as a trainer myself, and I know when I work with people, I'll start to see it. It's like patterns. It's like you could.
I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you before we go into that door. Whether or not that sales rep's going to sell it or not.
Yeah. What are Tell me about that. How can you tell?
I can tell. Well, there's a couple things, and this is stuff that I teach as far as it's called preparation before you knock the door. Number one is if you're not driving your truck, preparing yourself for those door knocks and getting your mind in the right place. I mean, this can go all the way back mindset. I mean, we could talk for 4 hours.
Oh,
on this,
easy.
Right?
We can talk for days. I'm
right.
Sure,
right.
You know?
And Tiffany, my wife, we talk about this all the time is you need to prepare yourself. And this is a lot about work-life, personal life balance is if your mindset's not in the right space to go knock doors, you're not signing anybody up because you have to be prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And that means, gosh, we can go way back. Like your village, your people around you have to be bought in and ready to go. So I don't have to worry at 5 o'clock at night that I should be home doing such and such. And my wife's pissed at me because I'm not home doing that. And that's in my mind right now, thinking my wife's pissed at me because I'm not home eating dinner or taking the kids to wherever, where now I'm going to knock on somebody's door and trying to get them to pursue their interest, trying to get them booked in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. Where my mind's not focused on that. My mind's focused on something else. you're already lost,
Yeah.
right? And you can tell that with if a person's on their phone and I'm riding along with somebody and they're on their phone and they're talking discussions with somebody else about something completely opposite from what we're doing.
Yeah.
Their mind's not there. And then they get out of the truck and they're not prepared. They're not ready to go to the door with their folder, with their information in hand, ready to go. And when you talked about, and like I said, we can go 30 different directions, but like when you said, I would say the biggest issue that I see with sales reps that why they don't sign somebody up. And we touched a little bit on this earlier, is they're not willing to listen. They're not willing to let that homeowner explain to them what their concern is, right? You know, because I've gone to numerous homes where I could tell the siding is screwed up. I could tell they got window wraps dents. I could tell the roof's a 22-year-old 3-tab that I know has got damage on it because I just was in a 2-inch hail area. But that homeowner's concern is my screens are ripped. That's her concern. Not her roof, not her siding, not her window wraps, not her garage door wraps, not that. Her concern is their screen.
Yeah.
So where's my focus going to first lead to?
The thing that matters.
The thing that matters to them, the thing that they care about.
Yeah.
I'm pursuing their interest. Well, Mrs. Jones, let's go out and take a look at these screens. Let me explain to you a little bit what hail does to these screens. I'm educating my homeowner, building that relationship, talking to them, letting them know that I care about their concern.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to explain to them as I'm doing my scope assessment, how the process works. And I'll tell you this, and this is something I teach in every class, and I'm not going to ruin everything because I got so much stuff, but I don't ever do an inspection on a property without my homeowner present during the inspection the entire time. And people are like, are you kidding me? You don't just knock on the door, tell me you're doing your inspection, come back and show pictures? No. And they're, why don't you do that? It's so much easier. It's faster that way. I said, because what I'm doing is I'm gaining 25 minutes of relationship building with that homeowner. By the time I get to that fourth corner, the question they're going to ask you every single time, what's the next step?
Deal sold at that point.
The deal's sold.
It's done. It's a done deal.
And people ask why I've got a 90% sign rating. Well, I've got a 90% sign rating because I built that relationship up in those 25 minutes to getting to that point.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm signing people up, and I don't lose homeowners because I've already built that relationship.
Yeah. You're acting as a guide.
We struggle in this industry because we're so concerned about, again, I go back to it. We're so concerned about our interests and not their interests. And we're so concerned about getting to the next one, getting to the next one, getting to the next one. Oh, I can sign 5 today. Oh, I can sign 7. Why not focus on signing those 3 and making sure those 3 are going to be so happy that those 3 are going to give you the next 9.
Yeah.
And now those next 9, how easy can we sign those 9? Are they going to go anywhere?
Yeah.
Those 9 are going to get you the next 9. This is about building your network, building your relationship, building that pattern where you don't have to knock doors. Man, like I said, we could go days on this.
We definitely could. And I think this would be a great piece of advice to end on is if you could go back in time and give yourself advice when you first got started, knowing what you know now about mindset, what would it be?
I would say the number one thing I would tell people, and the number one thing I would have told myself 25 years ago, is invest more in yourself, right? Educate yourself and invest more in yourself. Get the right people around you. You know, there's so many people out there, and you've seen this, you know this. There's so many so-called sales gurus out there. There's so many different people, and whatever floats your boat. Some people you may like this person more than this person, but surround yourself with people that are like-minded and that you know that you can pick information and you can basically, how do I say, eat what they're given, right? I mean, understand that, hey, these people have been it. They've gone through it. They've been there. How can I ask them questions? Give that. I struggled at that because I thought 25 years ago when I sold $2.5 million in a market that an average job was $7,000, I thought I was the shit. And I didn't want to take that information.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if I had to go back and do it again, I would have eaten that up. I would have invested in myself as much as I would have read more books. I would have jumped on any possible social media aspect I could. I would have tried to gain more information from the people around me that knew more than I did. And now you have to humble yourself. Now you have to understand that, am I good? Yeah, I think I'm really good. But am I the best? No. There's always somebody better. And that's why, and I'll do a little shout out to Chuck at Top Rep.
Yeah.
Right?
You running them today? Haven't I?
I did. I've seen it. I'm going to Top Rep again this year. I go to, as much as I can go to. If you've never been to Top Rep, man, that is by far the best as far as you're sitting amongst 300 peers. And the top of the top sales reps are in that area. It's a humbling experience. If you think you're good and you sit at a table with 5 other guys that are just as good,
I bet.
and you listen to them, man, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I got my pen and paper and I'm writing down every note I can, because if I could take 2 things from that class or from that 2-day session and bring them back and use them my own, it's only going to help you out.
Yeah.
So I would say investing in yourself is the number one thing I would tell
Absolutely.
people to do.
I've heard great things about Top Rep. I've spent a lot of time with Chuck. He and I actually in a mastermind together. I was just talking with him here. I've seen his training. He's fantastic at what he does. And what you just brought up, I just want to dive into even more for everyone who missed it, is you're someone who's been doing this for 27 years, who goes to not only training, but the same training over and over again, and has your pen out.
Mhm.
And you're active and taking
Oh,
notes.
heck yeah.
And it's really funny to me because I'll never forget. I was in a room with this sales team, big sales team. The company's doing at that time about 50 million a year in sales. And sometimes I'll have the top salesperson that's like, what are you going to teach me?
Mhm.
And they're top salespeople, all of them. And these guys are earning $500,000
Sure.
a year plus, and they're the ones that are out in the active and engaged. And my filter when I'm training folks, I see that the top earners or soon to be top earners are the ones that are always the most engaged.
Hell yeah.
And what you had said when you said, I wish I invested in myself earlier, that'd be I would give myself that same advice.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Absolutely.
And it's
Start
funny how
somewhere.
you mentioned that, because when I'm out training too, that's the first thing I look at. And when the owners take you out to dinner that night, after the first night, and they want you to bring back feedback and talk to them about what you saw, that's one of the first things I talk to them about, is when I'm sitting up there talking and speaking and I'm looking out in the crowd and those guys over there with their phones doing this or doing all that other stuff. And I tell them flat out, I said, that guy wasn't engaged. That guy's going to be your maybe $1 million rep.
Yeah.
That guy's going to maybe be your $600,000 rep. That individual over there, even though he's new, he's in, he's learning, he's figuring shit out. Spend some time with that guy, because he understands the concept. And I love doing that, because you can tell just by looking at the people out there, like, that guy's invested, that guy's not. And I love to tell people, I'm like, listen, man, and I haven't had the balls to do this yet, but I'm going to. One of these times, I'm going to tell them when they do that, I'm going to have a box. I'm going to put it out here. I'm going to have them all put their phones in the box.
Do it. Can you commit to doing that? Can you?
I think I'm going to do it, because
no, not think. Can you do that?
I should do that.
Do it.
I will do it.
Yeah.
The next one I teach, I'm literally going to put a box up there, and I'm going to have it sit there, and I'm going to have them take their phones. I'm going to say, listen, I'm invested. Are you? And I'm going to take my phone
And put it in there.
and I'm going to put it in the box. And I'm like, are you invested in this class or not? Because if you're not, let me know right now and you can just leave.
Yeah.
And if you are, put your phone in here. We got 7 hours. Let's talk.
I love it. These 7 hours could change your life.
And they do. It would, like, I wish there was a me 27 years ago that would have done that to me.
No, right? I love it.
Back then it was the Scuba Steve's phones. So like, hey, beep, beep.
That's too fun. Dan, thanks for bringing so much love and passion to what you do.
I do. I love it.
like, for those that haven't met you yet, you are the same person here, off camera, on camera. Your true, sincere love for what you do and how you serve people comes through. I appreciate you a ton.
Appreciate it,
And
man.
I want to shout out to you and Go Beyond the Hustle, and to Tara behind the camera, who I literally bogarted, was like, can you film and send me? So mad shout out. And I encourage everyone to go check out Go Beyond the Hustle. Join Dan at one of the upcoming sessions. I told him he should up his rates a lot. Get in there before he does.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, we do a monthly class every month. It's only $75. Go to gobeyondthehustle.com. Jump on these classes. We get guys like Adam and John and Chris and people like that jump on. We're willing to help you newer sales rep, you guys out. If you have questions, reach out and ask us. Our job as pillars of this industry is to reach those people that really care and really invested and help bring them up, because we want to make this industry legit.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thank you again, Dan.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.